Hello and welcome to a very special live fireside chat. My name is Jessica Martin. I am from season 1 and I am here with my fellow winner from season 4, Kayla Hussey, and we are live from Crossroads.
Yes, we have been in Chicago for the past couple days for the live know-it-alls, and I wanted to do something with Jess in person, so once we found this beautiful tiki man in honor of Tim, we decided to do it here. I was really nervous coming onto this at first because the last 3 episodes have been so chaotic to the point where I couldn't even understand what was going on, and I was like, I don't feel qualified to do this, but I feel like this episode has kind of like calmed down a little bit. There was a agreed upon target that basically everyone wanted out.
Shout out Joseph.
From the very beginning. He was basically on some kind of Final Destination track since the bar vote that he was just like...
We love Joseph's big showy game. As a viewer, it's so much fun to watch.
Yeah.
But it's not great for your fellow players. Let's take it from the top.
Okay.
So, there's so much to talk about. Exemption challenge. We had the King George host it. Loved seeing King George roast some of his fellow Survivor players.
I mean, come on, it's King George. You know he's going to do that. Like, it wouldn't be King George without some roasting.
Yes, that's what we're here for, King George. Shout out to Eli for winning. That's a great time to win at. Eli being someone who is also a big threat. Good time to be protected, because this could have easily swung his way. But thankfully for him, I didn't hear anybody say, oh, I wish Eli wasn't immune, I want to take him out.
Right. So, a couple episodes, Kara goes home, which was a big hit for Eli. And up until then, Eli was probably playing the loudest game. Like, he was opinionated. He was aggressive. Like, he was not afraid to push his plan. Even going back to, like, the very first episode where George went to Crossroads and he got everyone in a room and made everyone choose who they wanted safe. Like, that has been Eli's game from the beginning. But once Kara left, he actually, like, took a back seat in a way that I didn't think that Eli was capable of. But it is showing that he is adaptable and he's able to kind of read the room and see where he has to hang back. So this is like the second episode where he's had a little bit more of a quieter game.
Yeah, and he was in a good position this round. So let's start. So the first conversation we see is Austin, Ryan, and Courtney, and Ryan does a good job orchestrating. We're all voting for Joseph. Let's keep this plan quiet. And then when he goes and talks to Eli, he talks about options and do we want to actually do Joseph or do we want to do Austin? And they have a good conversation about the benefits to doing Austin versus Eli. Austin has Courtney attached to him, which is always dangerous to have guaranteed 2 votes on whoever, especially like in a game where the numbers are dwindling down. Ryan and Eli are in a really good position to decide we can make this Austin if we want, or we can keep it Joseph.
Yeah, I really liked that conversation that Ryan had with Austin and Courtney. Yes. He brings up Joseph right off the bat, like you said. He did it in a way that was just like, this is why I love how Ryan plays the game, because he's like so social all the time. He's just like, so we're doing Joseph, right? Like, that's exactly how he said it. It's just like in a different way that it's just like people, I almost feel like people have to like agree because he's like saying it so like matter of factly, like, come on, this is like the obvious play. We have to do this. And he laid out his thoughts well. I mean, again, he's finding all the compasses and advantages.
Yeah, and nobody has any idea that Ryan has 2 compasses.
Right.
But watching Courtney interact with Ryan and Joseph was my favorite moment of the episode.
You know what's funny? Like, Courtney, did you hear Courtney bring up Eli's name?
Yes, she did.
She brought up Eli's name. So she is, like, basically Eli is courting Courtney right now, and she's kind of like falling for it. But she's still bringing up his name. They said she was the only one who brought up Eli's name this whole round,
and it got at it.
Oh, it got dispelled like right away. Like, no, we can get him later. So
we'll talk to our correspondent in New York about this.
Hi, this is John Schneidman, your New York correspondent. I wasn't invited to hobnob Narati out at the RHAP event in Chicago, but I'm happy I could be included remotely.
I know Schneidman has basically been the Courtney correspondent for this whole season, so I would like to know from Schneidman who he thinks Courtney is actually loyal to. Obviously, she's loyal to Austin.
I think Courtney, I love Courtney. I adore Courtney. Courtney's plan was clearly to stick in tight with Austin and Annie. Annie's gone. So I think now she's trying to get in tight with Eli too, because I think she kind of realizes that Austin's a sinking ship. I think Austin's in a little bit of a pickle. Lost allies. I don't know if I agree with his analysis that he was okay losing Annie. I think he was in a spot where, if you're in a spot where for you need as many allies in the game as possible. And I get the logic that he didn't want to risk going at rocks. But sometimes, we said this a few times last week, like, sometimes you got to risk it. People he might be able to align with, those numbers are getting smaller and smaller each week. So he has Courtney. He 1000% has Courtney. That's locked in.
But she was kind of like the belle of the ball, along with Jess, this episode where everyone was trying to get her for a number. In the past episodes, she was really emotional and chaotic, and people were not taking her seriously at all. But she was in a more serious mode this time around, and everyone was trying to get her. So every time she's in a room with somebody, she acts like she's loyal to them. So I can't really tell what her long-term plans are.
I think we have seen that there is a lot more coherence to Courtney's game than she is getting credit for from her other players. I think we, the audience, see that because we see everything. I think the players right now see somebody who's erratic. So what she will have to do is get to the end of the game and then convince the jury that the extent to which she was erratic, the extent to which she was emotive, was actually an act. I think that's going to be a hard sell. I don't think it's impossible, because I do think this cast, even though they sometimes are frustrated with her, actually like her a lot. But I think that is what she's going to have to do. Hi, I'm the real Courtney. This person that you have been playing with has been a bit of an exaggeration, So I think that is how she does it. Difficult? Yes. Impossible? No.
She's just continually building on the chaos. Do you think that's intentional?
Yes, absolutely. Courtney knows she's safe, and I think she just wants to fuck with people and keep the chaos going, keep any votes off her. She knows there's tension with Joseph and Jess. So if Joseph throws a hinky vote, throw it on Jess, not on her.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think that plan backfired a little bit when he saw that she wrote his name down.
I mean, that's a Courtney classic. What are we if we don't have an episode of Courtney showing who she's voting for 20 minutes before it's relevant?
And Leah's just I love when you do that. We love when you do that too, Courtney.
Oh my God, yes. If I had a player in the game who was doing that, I love the transparency. Give it to me. I would keep you in the game.
It's going to be final 6 though, so if she can pull some shit off and sell her story at the final scent, anything can happen.
Yeah.
But so we get to Crossroads, and Joseph comes in hot with this public advantage that he says, I'm voting, I have to lock my vote in at Crossroads. And lawyer Eli does a good job calling him out and recognizing, I think Ryan too, recognizes that he literally read the same clue that he had for the last public advantage, and he just twisted it a little bit, and they had him right in that moment there, knowing that he was full of shit, and this is when we can snipe him.
I mean, that's Joseph's game. Every single Crossroads, he's going to come in throwing punches, and he's actually had stuff to back it up in the previous episodes, but he didn't this time. And, I respect the hustle. Obviously try and bluff. That's really all you got in your arsenal. He went out swinging. We respect that type of gameplay.
He did everything he could. And, I love a good fake compass bluff at Crossroads. And honestly, I think if he hadn't made himself such a big target already, And if they didn't catch on to the fact that his compass wasn't real, he could have maybe swung at Austin. He had pitched some really good cases to get on why we should get Austin out.
I think that Austin was helped by the fact that there was a much bigger target on the board. There are a lot of people who are out for Austin, which makes me next week. But Joseph was just the 5-alarm fire, if you will, and they put it out.
That's the thing about Joseph is I do think like he always has good plans. Like he knows what he's talking about strategically. It's just nobody wanted to ever give him the time of day. It seems like he isolated himself socially like pretty early on.
Because he wasn't open with information.
He wasn't open.
Everything
Yes, and that makes people nervous. And just the bluntness of Joseph, like that makes him such a great character. But like I see how that can be a little bit off-putting for the players. So it's like your strategic sense was like totally there. Your ability to hustle and find the advantages was there. But it's just like getting people to buy into the plan that was lacking for him. Yeah. I want to talk about Jess and Aaliyah a little bit because we haven't really talked about them a lot. This is the second episode in a row where we've seen them come together in a way that feels different than other groupings that I've seen. It seems like
they have a final two.
They have a final two. They are kind of like playing the most under the radar game, and they've really come together after the kind of Cranberries implosion.
I think this was a good night for Aaliyah. I think Aaliyah was on the top of people's minds before she won exemption a few rounds ago, and now nobody's even considering voting her out. She's maintaining close ties with everybody in the game. Austin is still trying to work her. Courtney's still trying to work her. Jess is including her in a Final Four. Eli and Ryan have her as part of their end game plans, and she is a social wizard. You know, if she's in the end up against, say, Eli and Jess, if she senses that there is some anger at Eli, or maybe some people think Eli is cocky, then she might be able to swoop in there. It's not a guarantee. I'm not even sure I'd put money on it, but I think it's a very real possibility that we have to consider as we enter the end game.
Jess, she is the first one to pitch the Ryan, Eli, Aaliyah, and her Final Four.
Yeah.
Jess is in the middle. Like, she's been in the middle the whole game, so she does have the ability to kind of control who goes to the end. So what do you think about those four for her?
I don't think she can win against Ryan or Eli. I think they've been very dominant in the game, and Eli has controlled a lot of what Jess does. Like, he's the one who kept her in the game and from not going home first. And even at this vote, when Jess and Eli were talking, she said, "Oh, I'll do whoever. I'll do Austin or Joseph."
What I don't get is the going against the Eli 2 episodes ago, and now being with Eli again.
Right. I am just genuinely confused about where Jess's gameplay is going.
Yeah.
Because they had this idea of doing the women's alliance, and that was a perfect 3 for her, and it just fell apart. We said this last fireside chat, she needed to go to Rocks and get one of those big guys out. And
Jess has made it very complicated to assess her game. I don't know why Jess gave up the advantage to Aaliyah, especially when she senses that she is having trouble being seen as a threat or being taken seriously within the context of the game. I don't know why you would give that up, especially, right before the final 6. I don't know why she told Eli about the advantage. I think she already had trust with these people. I think these people already trust her. I think whatever trust she gained by doing that was not worth the price she paid in terms of giving up any leverage that advantage offered her. Now she is not in the final 6. If she had that advantage, she was in a real position to dictate how that vote would go. Say, for example, she wanted to turn on Eli at final 6. Well, okay, she now votes with Austin and Courtney and blocks Eli's vote. 3-2. Now that's a much easier vote. She has now given up that power. and I don't know why.
She honestly has a lot of power because she's in the middle and everyone's coming to her all the time. So like a big key to the game this season is getting Jess on your side, honestly. Like that has been like a great move from Ryan, because I do think she should be worried about Ryan, but she like really likes Ryan, and that's like so good for him.
Yeah, Ryan is definitely a blind spot for her, and I don't think she realizes how in control he's been.
Yeah, I totally agree.
He has taken information from her and just ran with it to complete his own plans.
Totally. I think that within that 4, if I'm in Jess's head, I'm thinking that I would think, again, like the whole Eli situation with her, I don't understand. Like, but I would think that she would want him out at 4. You know, but leaving a dangerous player like Eli in the game until 4 and hoping you get him out is difficult. Like
the whole setup of this too, like you say, okay, we take Eli out at 4, but that still leaves Eli or Ryan. If this is your 4, one of them will end up being there. And I'd like to get correspondent Schneidman's opinion on this as well. It feels like Jess is going to have some cleanup to do at the end. With Eli, with Joseph. There's been a lot of exaggerations on people's character.
Yes.
And at the end of the episode, too, she was trying to take credit for getting Joseph out. Okay. And you can't, that's not a move you can take.
So to try to claim a move that is essentially unanimous, the vote was not unanimous, but the sentiment was unanimous, as part of your personal journey, will only cause your fellow players to take you less seriously as a game player. And like the idea that Joseph was this real villain who was harming other people in the game, I don't think is going to ring true for other players. I think now we have seen that she has a pattern of whenever she gets any sort of negative feedback within the game about herself. And, you know, Joseph could say whatever he wants. That was clearly an attempt at manipulation, and that's okay. I'm not knocking Joseph for saying that.
Emotions are heightened in this game. Like, I'm sure, like, everyone has gotten their feeling hurt a time or two, but I don't know if this is in her character because we haven't seen anything like it, but I would love for her to be like, look, I was playing in the middle, and I was lying to all of you, and, you know, I was, like, spreading stuff about you to, like, further my games.
I don't know if it's intentional.
It seems largely almost subconscious. It'll be interesting to see if she keeps doing this, or if it was just like,
it feels reactive. Like I'm so, like on the spot. I don't know what else the fuck to do.
Yeah, but like contrast that with Ryan, who is also playing the middle. I think they both are. Jess is playing kind of passively, like she's letting all the information come to her, whereas Ryan, he's making all of these connections with people and he's playing actively.
Very active,
but it's in a subtle way, like his episode where he came in with a plan. Jess told him about the cranberries and he said, that's a problem. I need to break it up. And all he did was plant seeds. Like that is an active middle game. It's planting seeds and watching them blossom.
Yeah, I mean, even in this episode, his conversation with Joseph, like, I felt as a viewer, like, oh, he's totally with Joseph. He'll do with
Joseph.
And he could have. If he ended up wanting to swing at Austin, he had the power to pick which one of them went home. Yeah, all in all, though, another great episode of Expedition Online Season 6. This cast is so entertaining.
I love them so much. Like, so Joseph, like, the agreed upon target, goes home this episode, so it feels like a reset. Like it feels like everyone's starting the game anew. Like that was a consensus vote. Like I honestly don't know where it's gonna go from here. I know that like that grouping of 4 that Jess made sounds like pretty strong at this point, but like Courtney,
so is the cranberries.
Chaos Courtney is still in the game. Like you never know what she's gonna do. Austin is still such a capable player. Like I totally trust him to be able to shake something up. So it's exciting. I really don't know where it's going to go this next episode.
Yeah, as we've seen, this has been a roller coaster, and expect the unexpected. And Courtney, she's bigger than her body gives her credit for.
With arms wide open, baby. Creed and John Mayer. Shout out
Thank you,
Courtney.
Courtney. Thanks for being you.
Yes.
So yeah, another great episode. Joseph was a really good sport about it. I do think he'll be a tough jury member though.
Oh,
And
yes.
we love that spice.
Oh, yes. Please bring it, Joseph. Please bring it. You know, you haven't disappointed yet in any crossroads, so I need you to bring the heat. One more time.
Thank you, Season 6, Final 7, for another great episode. We look forward to what the Final 6 brings.
Woo!
This is your New York correspondent signing off. I hope you guys have fun doing all your hobnobbing in the Windy City. Cool. Seems totally not fun. Not jealous at all.
Signing off, this is Jessica Martin and Kayla Hussey live from
Live
Chicago.
from Chicago. Woo woo!